we talked about why God allowed Satan to do this to Job, and it had nothing to do with Job's sin.
Yeah.
Which kind of begs the inference of there's more reason to persecution than your sin. Sin is not always the reason why you suffer.
Yeah.
Um, because here is not suffering for sin, so we can't say that like all the stuff that we go through. If you're dealing with something right now, like whoever is listening to this, if you're dealing with something right now and you cannot understand why, I mean, take it from Job and ask God. If he tells you you're dealing with this because I have been wanting you to relinquish that sin to me, and because you haven't, these are the consequences of it, because
Mm-hmm.
this is the choice that you have made. um God chastens who he loves, but chastening is not punishment.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a weird concept for, I'd say, the black community. um Chastening paints the picture of, almost paints the picture of Psalms 91 to me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. I looked that up because it's the same word as you read spare the rod, spoil the child in Proverbs. And that rod, I had to look it up because it had been used so many times. I was like, I gotta find this out.
Right. What is the rod?
What is the rod? And it's the same rod that you see with a shepherd and his sheep. The shepherd doesn't beat his sheep with that rod. He
Mm-hmm.
directs his sheep with that rod.
Mm.
It's not a painful beating to
Mm-hmm.
get them in line. It's a direction. I have to like
Yeah.
make sure that I'm getting it in the camera. But like, here's the sheep and he's directing it. And yeah,
Yeah.
there's some pressure. Don't get me wrong. There's pressure to move you in the right direction. Um, but at the end, it's for the sheep's good, and it's to keep them out of trouble. So that's what chastening looks like. That's the picture of the rod that God has on for his children, right? Not on his children, but for his children. And so when it comes to sin and punishment, you have sin and consequences, and we use these interchangeably in the English language, and it butchers the
Mm.
view of God in this sense. And so it's so like, I feel like that's my mission almost, to like remind people that the English language sucks. And and these words that we use that are in the Bible translated into English don't always mean the English meaning. Um,
Yes. Get you a concordance, y'all.
yes,
Googles. Do
get
your
you a
Googles.
concordance, biblehub.com.
Yeah.
Look up the Greek and Hebrew. Greek is for New Testament, Hebrew is for Old Testament. Look up the Greek and Hebrew of some of the words that you don't understand, or even some,
Hmm.
excuse me, or even some of the words you do,
Yeah, just to have a deeper
just
understanding.
to have a deeper
So
understanding.
you think
Because
that God was chastening Job here, or he was just, or was he chastening his angelic beings, or his, or
um
Satan?
I don't think there's chastening involved at all. I was just
Oh,
saying
okay.
there's multiple reasons why you suffer.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
suffering, the like you sinning doesn't equal punishment
yes, I got you.
with God
Yeah,
now because of
yeah,
Jesus. Our
got
punishment
you.
has already been taken. He's
Hmm.
already given punishment because he's a just God. And
Hmm.
so I don't know how far you've gotten into holier than thou, but
I have
um
not even started.
me either. But I have listened to a podcast that Jackie Hill Perry was on, and she was talking about holier than thou, and she was saying that um God's God's reaction to sin makes no sense without Jesus.
Hmm.
Because if God is just, then how can you explain that for some people's sin, like David's sin, he just blotted it out and basically let him start from zero, after he's already slept with another man's wife and then killed the man, had a
Well,
child with the, with the woman or
well, the
whatever,
baby
right?
died. It was a little bit of some in there.
Right. And so So how can you explain that and then explain of the entire burning of Sodom and Gomorrah, right?
Yeah.
Without Jesus. And and she says it way more eloquently than me.
She
But
wait, yes, I'm who can
goodness.
speak like her?
Oh my goodness.
Like
My
who
goal
really
is
can?
to speak like Jackie Hill Perry.
Yes, that's a great
Well,
goal.
the way God wants me to speak, but like
Yeah, like with that
naturally,
much knowledge.
yeah, with that much knowledge and conviction.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like she was saying that Jesus is the way that God's justice can manifest because he gave the punishment for sin upon Jesus. And when Jesus died, it was for past sins and present sins
And
and future
future sin.
sins.
Ooh.
And so when we see David's sins being blotted out, saying that his sins have been forgiven and wiped away, it was Jesus.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna let that sink in just a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I
Woo.
I don't have a rebuttal. I agree.
So yeah, check out 30 Minutes with the Perrys. It's a
Yes.
podcast. That's where I heard
Mhm.
it because they were talking about Holier Than Thou, Jackie Hill Perry's new book about God's holiness.
Yes. Shameless plug.
Um,
Not even our plug, but still.
yeah, not even our plug, but still, she's great.
We will-
They're great. Support them.
Yes.
So I was saying all that to say, like, everything that you're going through isn't always the result of your sin.
Hmm.
Um, and the only person that can tell you the difference is God.
Yeah.
And that's what Job was asking for. He didn't know what was
Mhm.
going on. If it was sin, it was sin. Just tell me. Like literally,
Yeah.
just tell me why you're doing this. And if God does not give you an answer, God is still good.
Yeah. And he might not give you the answer right then, but he'll give you the answer when he wants to.
Hmm.
Because I will say this, I'm a very big advocate of prayer. I feel like all Christians should be, but I know a lot of Christians who do not pray. So there's that. But when I pray, right, I pray about some of the same stuff all the time. Even though I'm like, God, I know you heard me, but I'm going to pray about it again, right? Because I feel like there's biblical examples of that.
Hmm.
I will see my prayers get answered sometimes years down the road, months down the road. Prayers I pray for other people, prayers I pray for myself. I can see prayers unfolding, and I'll be like, I will be in amazement because I'm like, God, you really be working. Like, just behind the scenes, like
Hmm.
he'll give you your answer, and then what's crazy is you'll know that it's the answer.
Yeah.
It blows my mind how I could be in the middle of whatever I'm doing, and I can hear clearly his voice, or I can see clearly the actions, and I'm like, wow, God, your timing is impeccable. And I'll
Right.
be like, I prayed for that 3 years ago. And, an unbeliever would say, oh, it's just all chance. But no, when stuff starts clicking into place, come on, y'all. Don't play with me. It's God. So, keep praying. Your prayers are going to get answered. And like she said, if you feel like they're not getting answered, God is still good. But guess what? I'm going to challenge you to know that God is going to answer your prayer. It's probably not going to be in the way that you thought it was going to get answered. It might not be in the way that you thought it should have happened. But when it does happen, you'll know, oh, this was how it was supposed to happen. My idea was actually dumb of how I thought it
Hmm.
should happen. Because you're not smarter than God, unfortunately. I mean, I don't know if it's unfortunately, but it's like
It's fortunately.
it's fortunately
It's a good thing.
you're not that smart. You're smart because he gave you smarts, but like your idea of how you were gonna handle it, it wasn't gonna work as well.
Right.
It's not gonna happen. It's my word.
Um